Hey guys, this is Jeremy from 78 Productions. I'm here with Rachel, who has her own blog. Rachel, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Rachel, although officially my name is pronounced as Rachel. That's because I'm Dutch, and most people don't speak Dutch very well, so I'll go with Rachel for now. Um, I am a former youth pastor from the Netherlands, now living in Germany, where I am a volunteer youth worker in my church. And I'm an avid blogger, a reader, a wife, a mom, and a whole lot of other things. But, that's about me.
I personally have a soft spot for all volunteers that work in ministry, so thank you for what you do. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love it.
So I have Rachel on today because I want to talk about Evernote, and there's so many people that are avid fans about Evernote. They have amazing ways of using it, and from the outside looking in, I get what Evernote is supposed to do. I understand the whole process and how amazing this can organize your life, and I don't need to rehash what Evernote is, but I can't get into it, and I don't know why. And so you have been such an avid fan of this. Tell me, what is it about Evernote that you absolutely love?
I guess it started because my husband was looking for a way to go paperless.
Hmm.
And I think we were one of the very first adopters of Evernote. And he read a blog post about how you could connect Evernote with a ScanSnap, a simple scanner. And he was like, oh man, we got to try this because we had so much stuff, like literally stuff, bookcases full of, papers that we never looked at, that we didn't want to throw away. So that's kind of how it started. And then, we bought the scanner, we got an Evernote subscription, and we started scanning, and man, it just blew us away. Bookcases full of paper that we could, well, literally throw out, and that's how I became a fan. Like, everything was searchable. It's like my own private Google of all the stuff that I have that is instantly scannable, it's searchable. So I guess the paperless thing was really important for us because, it eliminated a lot of stuff. It also eliminated a lot of work. Our whole personal admin is in there. Whenever I need something, like we just did our tax returns a couple weeks ago, and everything that we need is just, searchable. I don't have to look through, I don't know how many, paper stuff. Whenever, nothing ever gets lost. You just scan it, you tag it, and, it's searchable. So I guess that's how it started. And then we started coming up with more ideas. We followed the Evernote blog, which also gives a lot of ideas of how you can use it.
Mhm.
And we just, kept finding, oh, we can do this, we can do that. I added my whole to-do system into the Evernote. So yeah, I guess that's how it started, but we became big fans, both of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, my husband has had to cut back a little bit because at his work, he's a research engineer. He's not allowed to use Evernote, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, what can you do? But
Yeah.
privately, personally, we still use it. So yeah.
Yeah, so there's two things that I see when I think about Evernote, and in the generality of it, how amazing is this? I'm a systems person. I work with databases. Like, this is my life. I should be doing this. But there's two things I feel like that are barriers, and I'll ask the second one after you answer this one. But the first one is I feel like the initial setup has to be just absolutely tremendous to get what has already transpired in my life. I blog a lot, so I have tons of ideas flowing around, and simply just trying to begin and just, I mean, we talk about starting something. The overhead to setting up a WordPress blog is you have to set it up, you have to have design, you have to have what you want to do, you have to have your social media set up. That's a lot of setup, and there's a huge payout for that. But with the Evernote stuff, I think it's such a huge setup. Is the benefit for it truly worth it? Am I imagining this huge setup that it really isn't?
Well, I think the difference between you and me is that when we started with Evernote, there wasn't anything like it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like the whole cloud still had to develop, backup systems, stuff like that. So there were no competitors. It was pretty unique in that sense.
Mm.
And I'm not saying we didn't have a choice, but it was pretty much it. So it didn't have to compete with anything. It was really an addition to what we already had.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the difference. If you already use good apps or whatever for some of the stuff that I use Evernote for, then Well, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but I think the benefits would be less than they were for us at that time.
Hmm. Sure. So,
Um,
so
yeah, I think that's really something you have to ask is what would it add to your workflow, to what you already have in place, um, if it makes sense or not. Because if it's just extra work, then obviously, who needs that?
yeah,
More than enough
definitely.
stuff to do. So yeah,
Yeah. So maybe it is. Maybe we'll eliminate me trying to do 10 different apps with just Evernote, and I think that probably that is a huge thing for me to consider as well. But the other part of this is I am such a process kind of person. I need to have habits. They talk about how you need to do something for 21 days.
yeah.
And I did initially try to do Evernote and I eliminated everything I had done up to that point. And so I was almost like you when you first adopted it, that I just went from that point on. And a barrier for me in that was I was not responsible with using Evernote. So how do you make sure that you keep doing that? I know part of it's probably habits now, but what helped you get into that habit to establish continuously using Evernote well?
Hmm. Well, I think what you're saying is dead on. Is that you have to make a habit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, because I also started using Evernote for my to-do system, that pretty much made sure that I'm looking at it, well, almost constantly. I mean, I use the desktop app that's constantly open on my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that makes it easy to use. That it's not something that I have to think about. During the course of the day, all my to-do stuff is logged on there. So I'll like today's Tuesday. I'll look up, okay, what are my to-dos for today, or what are my to-dos for this month.
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of makes it logical in my personal workflow. I've made it well basically my starting point. Um, and as for admin stuff, well, obviously, what you would look up in papers or in something else, I look up in Evernote. So that's just on a need to have or need to know basis.
Sure.
Um, but even for me, it's taken a while to realize how much stuff I have in Evernote. Like I started scanning youth ministry journals or youth ministry magazines, and at a certain point, I completely forgot I had them in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be looking for ideas for a blog or background info on whatever, and then someone was like, "Oh man, I scanned all that stuff. It's in Evernote. I don't need to Google. I need to Evernote if
Mm-hmm.
that's a verb." But so that takes some getting used to really replace what you already have with, like you said, a new system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think the big difference for me was that like I said, I use it for my to-do system. So really, everything I need to know is in there. So it's constantly open. It's not something I have to think about.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a habit.
Yeah.
Habits are hard to form.
Yeah. So normally my interviews don't go like this, but I feel like I'm at a point where things are chaotic enough and I have too many other resources in my process of life that I think I'm going to try to do the 21-day challenge and do Evernote. So maybe we'll have
Okay,
to have a
I encourage you.
maybe we'll have to have a follow-up interview of me either breaking down and I can't do it or a success story after this. So thank you so much for having this conversation and helping
Yeah.
me, but then hopefully everybody else that has this conversation. I would like to just offer, do you have anything on the web that you want to promote that you have coming out or already just out that you're really proud of and want to share?
Anything on the web? Well, obviously, my site, youthleadersacademy.com.
Mm-hmm.
I've also written a couple of posts about Evernote. So, if people want to have a look at how I use it or how you can use it in youth ministry, I've written a couple of posts about that. Because, like you said, I am a big Evernote fan. I'm not here to, preach an Evernote gospel, but
Yeah.
it's proven to be a very effective tool for me. So if it can help, youth pastors or other people in ministry to work more effectively, that'd be awesome. So I'm really excited. It's really exciting to see how you're going to do on your 21-day
Yeah.
challenge. So we really should do a follow-up.
Yeah, sounds good. So I will talk to you soon. Check you out as well on Church Mag. You write a couple of articles over there too.
Yeah,
So
I do.
check that out. And we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.